Well, we're here at Moonee Valley on Saturday the 15th of October for the Freedom Party's rally, and I was fortunate enough to get invited along to talk about Australia's or Victoria's favourite son, Dan Andrews. Of course, that's not true. I'm here to sell also the book and tell people, because they need this book. It's an educational book called Dan Andrews Unmasked. So we've got lots of things in there, including the death and destruction that he's done to Victorians. Of course, we've got a chapter on there about Paul Dimatina, and he stuck up for Victorians, especially in the small business and hospitality sector. There's a whole chapter on Paul Dimatina, which actually my book launch, or a book launch, is happening next Tuesday night at Lamaro's in South Melbourne. But one of my favourite chapters in there is chapter 666, and chapter 666 is called Devil Dan, because that's honestly what he is. He is an antichrist, and the policies that him and his donkeys have put forward have really persecuted people of faith. We only have to go last week to Andrew Thorburn, who was attacked personally by Dan Andrews. It's incredible that throughout this time he was able to segregate people from essential to non-essential. So I was non-essential. As Jack, you were probably non-essential. And then he went further and he segregated people from vaxxed to unvaxxed. And now he's hitting harder. So not only does he have a crack at tennis legend Margaret Court for her beliefs, he now has an attack at Andrew Thorburn. So people of faith, and particularly Christians, we need to be a little bit concerned that here's a leader who wants to cancel us out of society, and yet at the same time he says, I'm a Catholic and I hold on to my Catholic beliefs and they guide me day by day. Well, I don't know what Catholic church he went to. Maybe the ones that centuries ago were killing the real Christians, because I think that's what he's all about. So this is a terrific read. I've only got good reports about this book, which is fantastic, but don't take my word for it, because I've got a mate of mine here just on cue as the function's missing. Hey, Paul's been a fantastic supporter of myself, but also of the book and the Freedom Party here as well. Can you look into that camera there and tell them a little bit about the book and what you liked about it? What did you like about it?
Well, I think what I like about it, Geoff, is the fact that lets people make up their minds, and where do you get a straight read on a story at the moment? I think one of the telling legacies of this guy is the fact that people are so divided, and that's a horrible trait or characteristic in a leader. I think that... You're
not talking about me?
No, I'm talking about the guy who's you wrote the book about.
Thank you.
And no, you're welcome. And so it dives into the detail, and I think for me that's one of my favourite things, is that it reveals that part of who he is and what he's done that really has divided people. And you can see it if you want to go and look through the different elements of how they've done it with the lockdowns and the different ways that he's impacted Victorians, on a very real basis through the last couple of years. And so whether people love Daniel Andrews or whether they really dislike him, get into the detail.
That's right.
Make an informed decision,
Exactly.
Yep.
Thanks, mate.
All right.
And even though this is like, he's been in the audience of about, 500 people today, you've actually bought 3 of these books before and put people onto the book. So thank you very much for that.
No, that's my pleasure, because people need to read it and make up their own mind.
Thanks, mate.
Yep. Good on you.
Good on you. And look, I've got coasters here too. I've got a couple of people watching. Say, do you want a coaster? You want a Dan Andrews coaster? Take the Dan Andrews coasters there as we're winding up here at the rally, the Freedom Rally. So please get this book. There's some left over. You're lucky. It didn't all sell out today. We got books. Go to danandrewsunmasked.com. danandrewsunmasked.com. Learn a bit of history. This is a history book. It's an educational book. There's a fantastic chapter here just on the diggers. As I said, every chapter starts with D. There's one on Digger Dan and what he did to the diggers and how they responded to the whole lockdown process. Imagine that. Anzac Day last year, only 1,400 could go to the dawn service because of COVID, and then 8,000 could go to the march a couple of hours later. But then a couple of hours later than that, only 2 kilometres away, 75,000 or so people went to the MCG to watch SM Collingwood. The guy's crazy. It made no logical sense at all. He's got to go. November 26th, Victorians, you need to make this happen. Don't vote this guy back in again. People of Mulgrave, we need you to vote him out.